Hello dear students. So today we will see the introduction to nutrition in health and illness. So this course is for third year nursing students. So we have to start with the introduction part of this course, and here are the learning objectives. At the end of the session you have to differentiate the different terminologies that is usually used in nutrition, and you have to differentiate between macronutrients and micronutrients, and you have to list the sources and functions of the different nutrients, and you have to describe vitamins. You have to know their function and also their classification, and you have to explain the function of the different kind of common minerals in people's diet, in people's diet. So we have to start with the definition of different terminology. So nutrition, it is a science of food, and it's also a science of nutrients and their substances, their action, interaction and balance in relation to health and illness. And also it's a process by which the organism ingests, digests, absorbs, transports, assimilates and also excretes food substances. So we will see each and every terminologies in this definition in the coming slides. So food is anything that is edible to the human being. So it's also based on a specific culture or religion or societal belief. So there is a kind of food which is edible or which is eaten in a specific kind of culture, and there is also a kind of food which could not be eaten in another culture. So it should be based on a specific culture or religion or societal norm. So diet is nothing but it is the sequence of meals in a day. So mostly it is concerned with the eating styles of individuals or a group, because it is just what we eat per day. So nutrients, those are substances that are essential to life, and they have to be supplied by the food that we get, or that we eat. So the other terminology is with malnutrition. So malnutrition, when we say malnutrition, it's a condition that results from an imbalance between the dietary intake and the requirement. So if there is a high intake than the required amount, there will be overnutrition, and if there is a lesser uptake or a lesser intake than the requirement, so there will happen undernutrition. So both these things result in malnutrition, or both these terminologies are termed as malnutrition. Malnutrition. So the other thing we should talk here is that nutrition is concerned with the social, cultural and physiological implications of food and eating. So people with different social norm, or with different social belief or culture or physiological need may prefer a different kind of food. So if someone is hungry, so he may prefer a food that may make him satisfied, or that may make him to get full. So it is different based on those things. Based on those things. So the other thing we will see is the classification of nutrients. So nutrients can be classified based on requirement. So based on requirement, nutrients can be classified as macronutrients and micronutrients. So when we say macronutrients, those are nutrients that are needed in the body in a larger amount. So usually they are measured in grams. In grams. And micronutrient, these are nutrients that is required to our body in a lesser amount. Usually in milligrams or micrograms. Microgram. So based on need, so we can classify nutrients into essential and non-essential. Based on the need of our body. So when we say essential, those nutrients are not synthesized in the body, and it should be supplied from an external source or from the food that we eat. And when we say non-essential, nutrients. So these nutrients are already synthesized by our body, so we do not need those nutrients to come from food. Okay, so this is a difference between essential and non-essential. So based on source, we can classify nutrients into organic and inorganic. Okay, so usually organic nutrients are nutrients containing carbon, and usually they come from plant or animal origin. They are usually found in natural source. Okay, they are from natural source. But inorganic, usually they are synthesized, and also they include inorganic nutrients, also include minerals. Okay, minerals. The other classification is based on energy yielding. So nutrients can be classified into two based on energy yielding. So energy yielding nutrients and non-energy yielding nutrients. So energy yielding nutrients are the carbohydrates. Okay, in general the macronutrients are the energy yielding nutrients: the carbohydrate, the fat, and protein. And the non-energy yielding are the vitamins and minerals. So we have already talked or discussed about these things in our on our previous slides, so we have to proceed with the other terminologies. Okay, so we have said that nutrition is a process from ingestion to digestion. So when food is ingested, it will go with a process until it is assimilated and also excreted. Okay, so the different terminologies from ingestion to digestion are: so ingestion, it is taking large piece of food into the body. Okay, and digestion, it is simply the breakdown of large molecules into smaller ones, and so it occurs in the gastrointestinal tract through the action of enzymes and other substances like bile and HCl, okay, hydrochloric acid. So absorption, it is taking up of the soluble digestion products into the body cell. Okay, it is using the already soluble or the already digested products into the body cell. Okay, so assimilation is using the absorbed materials. Okay, using the absorbed materials. And digestion, it's eliminating the undigested food. And excretion, it is elimination of waste materials produced from chemical reactions of the body. Okay, this is the end process of digestion. So digestion is usually because of discomfortability inside the stomach. So the food might be digested without getting digested. Okay, so food is, as you know, food provides humans with energy and nutrients that are essential for growth, the development and maintenance of health and also life. Okay, so we need to be having food in our daily life to make us healthy and alive. Okay, to make us healthy and alive. So all the food that humans consume consists of those macronutrients and micronutrients that we have discussed earlier. So the macronutrients consist of carbohydrate, water, protein, and also fat. Okay, and also fat. And those three nutrient types, the carbohydrates, the proteins, and the fats, yield energy, and they are needed by the human body in recommended amount. Okay, in recommended amount. Micronutrients, whereas macronutrients, they will not yield energy, yet they are essential in body function regulation and are needed in amount measured in milligrams or micrograms, like we said earlier. So that's why they are termed as micronutrients. Okay, micronutrients. So let's start with the proteins, the macronutrients. That is protein. So proteins are polymer chain made of amino acid that are linked together by peptide bonds. Okay, by peptide bonds. So therefore, as you know, amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. Okay, so when protein is break down, so it will give amino acids. So an average protein has 300 amino acids. So amino acids are composed of the atoms carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, and sometimes in some kind of protein there is also sulfur. Okay, sulfur. So the 60% of protein is stored in musculature. Okay, so protein store does not serve as a direct source of energy, but rather it will work like building blocks of other structures in the body. Okay, because we will see the functions of proteins in our coming slides. Okay, however, even though it is not a direct source of energy, but during an emergency situation they can provide us the energy. Okay, they can provide us the energy. And there is 3 categories of amino acids: essential, non-essential, and conditional. So essential amino acids cannot be made by the body, so they have to be supplemented from the food that we eat. So there are about 9 essential amino acids that are known. So the non-essential amino acids can be made by the body from the essential amino acids. So when we say conditional, they are not essential, but we may need them in case of emergency. Okay, in case of emergency, the requirement to this amino acids is conditional. So the arginine, the cysteine, the glutamine, and so on are the conditional amino acids. So the other classification is based on the content of amino acids. So it can be classified as complete proteins and incomplete proteins. So complete proteins contain all the 9 essential amino acids. So usually animal source amino acids from animal source are complete proteins. Okay, proteins from animal source are complete proteins, whereas incomplete proteins lack one or more of the essential amino acids. Okay, so all plant sources exception of soybean protein are incomplete proteins. So to make our diet or our protein requirement complete, we have to have a dietary diversity. So it's important. The dietary diversity is important to get a complete protein. That means we have to eat a different source of those amino acids to make or to have a complete protein. Okay, to have a complete protein. So the food source of protein are animal source and plant source, and the functions are we need proteins for growth, for repair of body tissue, for antibody formation, because they are an important component in the immune system. So they are enzymes. They facilitate a chemical reaction which is taken place in our body cells, and they also act as hormones. They also act as hormones. So they regulate metabolic reactions that are happening in our body cells, and they are also transporters, and they are also storage molecules. So example is hemoglobin and ferritin. So they are also structural proteins. They make our hair strands, our nail, and so on, and they are needed for contraction of muscle cells. Okay, muscle cells. So they provide 1 gram of protein provides 4 kilocalories of energy. Okay, 4 kilocalories of energy. So the protein digestion and absorption. So proteins are split into linked amino acids called peptides, and then into individual amino acids. So in the stomach, the enzyme pepsin starts the breakdown of proteins into smaller units called peptides. Okay, then in the duodenum, it's part of the intestine, the small intestine. The pancreatic enzyme in the duodenum of the small intestine split proteins into polypeptides and peptides. Okay, the pancreatic enzymes, which are the chymotrypsin and trypsin. So they will split the protein into polypeptides and peptides. So in the jejunum, that is the middle part of the small intestine, so an enzyme created by the small intestine called peptidase splits the large peptides into smaller peptides and also then to amino acids. So all of the smaller protein fragments go directly to the liver by the hepatic portal vein. Okay, by the hepatic portal vein. So this is enough for part 1 discussion of our session. So in part 2 we'll see the other macronutrients and also the micronutrients. So for now it's enough.